In the past few lessons, I've extensively covered some workflows and good practices that go along with working as a mechanical engineering consultant. The details might have been overwhelming to you, given that you might not yet have been exposed to working with certain methods. But I tried to supply you with information you might need in the future, as you would get to needing it. Now, with these systems and checklists, I have endeavored to provide you methods of reducing the errors that might slip into your work. You might spend months working on your project. The last thing that you want to do is to have a single small error cost you to redo the project, wasting so much time that might have been avoided. In this lesson, I will cover methods you could use to systematically self-check your work before submitting it for approval by your senior. We will discuss the mindset shift of a professional, the system for self-checking, and peer review. By now, you know I like mindset shifts. I believe they shape the way we perceive our world and the way that we react. So, before we get to the activities of self-checking, we should know that a professional is accurate in their actions. They endeavor to provide first-time correct enough insight, knowing that the aspects that needed to be covered have been covered. They often treat their tasks as though the deliverable were their final product. As you progress in your career, you will become your first and last line of defense against errors, and you need to get your systems and perspectives in place to be able to handle this responsibility. The act of self-checking is a habit, a system implemented to be completed at regular intervals, with a set flow of actions. As they progress through their careers, they set up automated tools to improve the efficiency and time spent on self-checking, but they also actively review a task a little while after it was completed, to make some time to develop a fresh perspective. So I've provided some checklists for you in the previous lessons for working on calc sheets, CAD models, FEA, CFD, and working with changes. In the next lessons, I will provide checklists for writing technical reports and setting up presentations for client interactions. These are quite generic, and it might not be sufficient to address every case that you come across. Mechanical engineering is extremely wide, and your career will develop very specific to you. So the onus is on you to use these checklists, but then adjust them to be fully applicable to your specific application. Well, what are you to do to create and adjust your self-checking system? First, as I've said, use the provided checklists for your specific task. Then, prioritize areas where you might be most likely to have errors occur. Make sure you set up prompts for yourself to review your work systematically to try and catch these errors. Then, make sure that you complete your checklist before you submit your work for approval. It is obviously quite likely that there might be reviewing and redoing of work, but with these additional insights, you can keep updating your checklist as you learn your company's specific workflows and preferences. Your senior is assigned to you as a part of their position and promotion. You are an asset to them and to the company, and you should see the approval process of your work through your senior as a collaborative effort. Having a colleague or mentor, like your senior, to review your work before submitting to the technical director or client is the most effective way to catch mistakes and errors, and adjust the packaging of your work in a company-approved way, ensuring that there is company-specific value alignment. So, ask for feedback on your work early on in the process so that you can catch potential issues. Be open to criticism. Remember, you might overlook things, not know things, or not know to ask things, and adjustments on what you have done is again an iteration towards excellence. Try to review others' work so you can gain insights from what they've done and how they approach problems outside of your own project scope. You might learn some new errors to make or approaches to take. Self-checking and peer review are the two most painful parts of the process of engineering, but it is incredibly important to keep at it, and to ensure that human error does not cost in the value delivered to the client. Your willingness to participate in the process will determine the success of your project, and also how well you are perceived as a colleague to work with. If you see the process as inherently collaborative, with the company image as the main asset to be protected, you might feel a little less like an imposter, and a little more like a team member. Okay, I've created a little worksheet for you to develop your own specific checklist for the project you're currently working on. Please download it and see that you can complete the activity before you get to submitting your work to your senior. You might just become more confident in your work and ensure your deliverables meet the high standards your seniors expect. This activity will be your first iteration on the checklist, which will expand and adjust as you grow in your career. Let's go.